I remember as a young teenager when Big Brother was the biggest thing on television. When the season was in progress the day after the last episode aired, the show would be the talk of the town in my high school. The love affairs, the arguments, and the explicit events that would take place in the house would be all over the front pages of numerous tabloid newspapers and gossip magazines, while the more sophisticated corners of the journalistic world condemned the show as being evidence of the ongoing cultural decay in our country. In the 2000s, you couldn't escape it, and everyone seemingly had strong opinions on the show. Then slowly but surely, it would fall out of public discourse more and more, year after year, until a few years ago it's officially cancelled. I'm going to look back as to why this was, while also examining its place in British pop culture and defending it as the defining reality show of its generation. The concept of Big Brother was developed in the Netherlands in the late 90s by a man called John Del Mol. The show fused the usual conventions from the game show formula and mixed it with the doc-style reality TV genre. Its brilliantly simple premise and the drama it produced was a runaway success in its home country, and therefore the show expanded across the globe, mainly in the US and the UK in the year 2000. The show in the UK when it premiered was an immediate hit. The voyeuristic nature of people watching a house full of other people matched effortlessly with its conceptual premise, and the public awareness of the brand spread like wildfire. It fed viewers' naturally nosy and perverted nature and appetite for drama, gossip and backstabbing that the show provided. Now all these elements have been true for any other reality TV show, and the creative producers behind the camera come up with all the ways to manufacture conflict between show's contestants. And it's not like the people behind Big Brother will go up free in doing so, but I believe one of the main reasons for the show's success in its early seasons, and one of the reasons why it's the best show in its genre, is, believe it or not, was its authenticity. If you compare Big Brother to modern day reality shows such as Love Island, the lack of its polish, multi-camera coverage, soundtrack and glamour-filled edits gives it its rawness. The conflict and drama feels real, and one of the reasons why is that most of the time it really was. There are times when you watch the early seasons of the show where you feel uncomfortable watching how heated people get with each other.
Because you walked in on me twice now, because you can't knock. Can you not read, please? Knock.
I forgot to knock.
How can you forget it said in bold writing? Please knock. You know what, I'm going to talk you out. You shut up, make me shut up, make me shut up.
It transcends the boundaries of just another game show to, at times, a full-on social experiment. To see how quickly people, once they enter the house, draw their battlegrounds is fascinating. To see every step to how cliques form, how personalities slowly oppose and attract one another, and to see contestants be aware that they've been broadcasted to millions of people and are in a game show, but at the same time make strong bonds and relationships with their fellow housemates, and to see them wrestle with this artificialness of their position gives some of the most engaging and revealing looks at human behaviour ever put to television. Obviously Big Brother was very selective with the housemates they pick, and put them together with the methodical intention of personalities clashing with each other. And one of the show's greatest strengths was the variety of real-life characters that were cast who would never be living under the same roof otherwise, and watching how gradually varying people in the house change, adapt or stand their ground against opposing participants, which gives a fascinating, if somewhat morbid, accurate reflection of social politics we play in the real world, and the what-if questions the show poses if we were the ones in the house. Obviously we aren't, but we will subconsciously gravitate to the member of the house who is most like us, or who we are the most entertained by, and live vicariously through them, which adds to the addictive intrigue of the show. Now the voyeuristic, exploitive and self-awaringly Orwellian prospects of the show can't really be argued with, but I don't think the show was as culturally and morally flaccid as critics made out to be. Not just with the points I've already made, but the main defence is that, in a lot of ways during its prime, it was a very progressive show. We have to remember that Big Brother in its heyday was on Channel 4, which prides itself as being the most taboo, progressive and edgy channel out of the Big Five in the UK, and Big Brother was its flagship show, to reflect all these themes. Every season had a very ethnically and sexually diverse cast, with a very respectful representation of the LGBTQ community and minorities, especially for its time. Remember, the show was at its biggest in the early to mid 2000s, where those groups were not as nearly represented on TV as compared to now. So for a show as big as it was to have an array of black, Asian, gay and transgender housemates every year be cast and celebrated, I think cleans up Big Brother's image as not just being disposable trash TV. Again, compared to the one-way lane appeal of modern day reality TV shows that really stretch their genre's name, which they are solely focused on the blossoming sexual relationships between their contestants, which to me makes them very one-note and repetitive. The social politics, the personality and beliefs clashing, the paranoia, the strategic game show tactics, and the unexpectedness of the bonds not only the housemates make with each other, but the audience makes with them too, and just how innovative, game-changing and influential the show became makes Big Brother the richest example of its genre. However, in the 2010s, the show became a victim of its own influence. The start of the 10s gave way to a new wave of very structured, overly produced and more artificial quote-unquote reality TV shows, such as The Only Way is Essex, Love Island, Geordie Shore, Made in Chelsea, among others, which, despite my personal opinions on them, were smash hits ratings-wise. Big Brother's concept, despite its raw authenticity, was seen as restrictive compared to these shows, so the creative team behind it bombarded the show with a lot more gimmicks, outright disruption, and events that were obviously scripted and transparent to try and compete with the drama-a-minute spectacle of the new wave of shows that were coming out. Unfortunately, in doing so, it killed what made the show originally stand out, and extinguished its appeal and uniqueness. Die-hard fans that have stuck by it slowly tuned out until the show was axed by Channel 5 in 2018 due to floundering ratings. I don't think enough time has passed as of yet to give people a reflective reassessment that the show deserves. But hopefully down the line, as the show grows in nostalgic reverence, for the millennials who like me watch it in its prime, the show's stature as being truly groundbreaking television grows as well.